Have you ever noticed how presentations are like the go-to way to get your point across?
Yeah, totally.
It doesn't matter if it's like a big important pitch or just like sharing an idea with your friends,
Yeah,
nailing that delivery, it can really make a difference.
it really can.
And you know what? It's not about all the flashy stuff. It's about the structure.
You got it. Structure is like the backbone of your presentation.
Hmm.
It's the thing that holds everything together.
Right.
Without it, your ideas are just all over the place.
Yeah.
And your audience is going to be totally lost.
Exactly. We've all been there, right? You're sitting there and like halfway through you completely zone out
Yeah.
because you just can't follow what's going on. But what if there were like these easy ways to avoid that?
Right.
To really keep people engaged,
Well, there are.
Oh, tell me.
One of the best is the problem solution structure.
Problem solution.
You basically tap into something the audience is already struggling with. You make them think, ugh, yeah, I know that feeling.
I feel seen.
Exactly. And then you come in with the solution.
Okay, so like if I was trying to pitch, let's say, a new productivity app,
Right.
I wouldn't just jump right into all the cool features it has.
Right.
I'd start by talking about how annoying it is to have like a million emails and a never-ending to-do list.
Right. You're hitting on something they already relate to,
Yeah.
a problem they're nodding their heads to.
Yeah.
And then when you present your app as the solution,
Yeah.
it's not just another app, it's like the answer to their prayer.
I see.
Yeah.
I'm already thinking about how this could even change like regular conversations.
Oh, absolutely.
Instead of just saying, hey, you got to try this new meditation app.
Right.
I could be like, ugh, don't you hate it when your mind just won't stop racing?
Exactly. You're creating that hook, that immediate connection.
It's more interesting.
Now, another powerful structure uses something we all understand: stories.
Ooh, stories. I love a good story.
It's the past, present, future approach.
Past, present, future in a presentation.
Yeah. Imagine you're presenting on the evolution of communication.
Okay.
You could start with a quick look at the past, like cave paintings and smoke signals,
Way back.
highlighting that human need to connect.
Yeah.
Then you move to the present, the digital age, and maybe even joke about all the emails we get now.
So many emails.
Right.
Too many.
And then
Yeah.
the future part is where you reveal how your company, let's say, is changing the future of communication.
Oh, I get it. So it's like taking us on a journey,
Yeah.
and your solution is the next step in that story.
Exactly. You've given the context, the progression, and now your solution feels like the natural next thing.
Like it was meant to be.
It creates this sense of momentum, yeah.
I love it. Okay, I'm convinced. These structures are so clever,
Mhm.
and they can be used in so many ways. But what if you don't have a lot of time?
Yeah.
Like you only have a minute or two to make your point. What then?
That's where frameworks come in. Think of them as like mini structures, designed to get your message across quickly.
Mini structure.
Yeah. Like the elevator pitch.
Okay, the elevator pitch.
Imagine running into a potential investor in an elevator.
Oh, wow, the pressure's on.
You only have like 30 seconds to get them interested.
Okay, so you got to get right to the point.
You hit the core elements: the problem you're solving, your unique solution, and the big benefit.
You got to cut out all the fluff.
Exactly. It forces you to focus on what really matters.
So this is like your secret weapon for those quick pitches and networking moments.
Yeah.
Even just explaining your work at a party.
Exactly. Instead of rambling on, you have this clear, memorable statement.
Right. So it's tempting to try and cram everything in, but
Right.
is there a way to like prioritize what you say?
There is. There's another framework called the 3 key messages approach.
3 key messages.
Yeah.
Okay, why 3?
It's all about how our brains work. Research shows that we remember things better in groups of 3.
Oh, that's interesting.
Think about famous trios: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Oh, yeah.
Stop, drop, and roll. Even location, location, location.
You're right. Those really stick with you.
They do.
So instead of overwhelming your audience with tons of points,
Right.
you choose the 3 most important ones.
Exactly. Let's say you're presenting a new marketing strategy. Your 3 key messages could be: first, it really increases brand awareness.
Okay.
Second, it brings in highly qualified leads.
Makes sense.
And third, it's surprisingly affordable.
You've given them the main points they need to remember.
Yeah.
It's way easier to understand than a whole bunch of information at once.
Right.
But how do you know how much detail is too much?
Mhm.
Some presentations need to go really deep.
Oh,
right?
absolutely. And that's where knowing your audience is super important. You got to tailor your approach to who you're talking to.
So you're saying it's not like a one-size-fits-all kind of thing.
Ex-
Like a presentation for a room full of tech people is going to be totally different than one for, let's say, a group of high school students.
Yeah, you don't want to bore the experts with the basics, but you also don't want to lose the newbies with all the jargon.
Yeah.
It's all about finding that balance.
It's like finding that sweet spot where you're giving them good info, but you're also keeping them interested, right?
Right.
It reminds me of those presentations where you can tell the speaker is super smart, but they get so lost in the details that no one else can follow.
Yeah.
It's like all that knowledge gone to waste because they didn't present it in a way that people could connect with.
That's why knowing your audience is so crucial.
Yeah.
You got to ask yourself, what do they already know? What are they interested in? Why are they even here?
It's like you're trying to get inside their heads a little bit.
Exactly.
And it's not just about the content, it's the delivery too, right?
Absolutely.
The tone you use, the pace, even if you throw in some humor or not,
Yeah.
all that stuff needs to change based on who you're talking to.
It's like you wouldn't tell your grandma the same joke you'd tell your friends.
True.
You got to read the room, feel the energy and adjust accordingly.
So much to think about. This is making me realize how much work goes into a really good presentation.
It is.
It's not just slapping together some slides and hoping for the best.
It's definitely a craft, an art form even.
Yeah.
And one of the most important parts is being mindful of your audience's time.
Yes. Time is precious. Nobody wants to be stuck in a presentation that feels like it's dragging on forever.
Nobody.
And we've all been there, right?
Yeah.
That speaker who just loves to hear themselves talk.
Oh, yeah.
But, different formats have different expectations.
Right.
Like a keynote speech at a conference might be 20 or 30 minutes, while a webinar could be a whole hour.
That's true.
But a quick team meeting, that should probably stay under 15 minutes, right?
Absolutely.
It's like there's this unspoken agreement like, I'll give you my attention for this long, but you better make it worth it.
You better deliver.
And that's where structure comes back in, right? It keeps you focused, on track, and within the time limit.
Exactly. It's like a roadmap, not just for your audience, but for you as the presenter, too.
Yeah.
It stops you from going off on tangents or repeating yourself.
Keeps you on track.
And the cool thing is, these structures and frameworks, they're not just for formal presentations.
Oh, really?
You can use them in any kind of communication.
That's what's so cool about this. It's like we're learning this secret code for connecting with people.
Yeah.
Whether it's at a boardroom, a classroom, or just chatting with a friend.
For sure.
Like that problem solution thing, I can see how that could change how I approach everyday conversations.
It's about being more deliberate with how you communicate.
Right.
Instead of just throwing information out there, you're thinking about how to frame it so it really sticks.
Yeah.
And that's a skill that can help you in every part of your life.
I already feel more confident just thinking about it. But before we wrap up, I got to ask about those people who just seem like natural-born presenters. Are they just born with it, or can anyone learn to do that?
Well, some people might be more naturally inclined to communication, but the truth is, effective presenting is a skill.
Okay.
It's like playing an instrument or learning a new language. It takes practice, feedback, and a willingness to try new things.
So those amazing speakers we all admire, they probably put in a ton of work behind the scenes to get that good.
Oh,
They've been honing their craft and mastering these techniques.
absolutely.
It's encouraging to know it's not some magical talent. It's something we can all work towards.
That's right.
And it's okay to make mistakes along the way.
Oh, for sure. Every great presenter has bombed at some point.
Yeah.
It's about learning from those experiences, getting better each time, and finding what works for you.
So basically, the more you do it, the better you get.
Exactly.
And the more you understand these structures and frameworks, the easier it becomes to use them in different situations. So we've talked a lot about the theory, but how do we actually put all this into practice?
Yeah, that's the real challenge, right?
It's like learning a new recipe. You can read it 100 times, but you got to actually get in the kitchen and cook to really get it.
Exactly.
So we need to take these structures and frameworks and try them out in real life.
Yeah.
Whether it's a team meeting, a client pitch, even just explaining something to a friend.
Exactly.
So first, I got to figure out what I really want to say.
Right.
What's the main thing I want my audience to remember?
Yeah.
And then I think about which structure fits best.
Exactly.
So if I'm trying to convince my friends to try a new restaurant, maybe I'd use that problem solution thing we talked about.
Right.
I could start with, don't you hate it when you're starving but can't decide where to eat?
Yeah.
And then bam,
Yeah.
I hit them with the restaurant as the perfect answer.
You've created that instant connection.
They're like, yeah, I feel that.
Right. And don't be afraid to experiment with different approaches.
Okay.
For a work presentation, maybe you try the past, present, future structure.
Oh, yeah, to show how a project has evolved.
Exactly.
It's like we're building a toolkit, and the more we practice, the easier it'll be to pick the right tool for the job.
That's a great analogy.
But one thing I'm still kind of worried about is stage fright.
Ah, yes. Stage fright.
Got any tips for dealing with those pre-presentation jitters?
Well, one of the best ways to combat it is, you guessed it, preparation.
Oh, yeah. Makes
The
sense.
more you know your stuff, the more confident you'll feel.
So it's not about memorizing every word,
Yeah.
but really understanding the flow, the
Right.
key points, the overall message.
Yeah, like you said earlier, having that roadmap internalized.
Exactly.
And another thing that helps is to focus on your audience, not yourself. Instead of thinking, I'm so nervous, think, how can I make this interesting and useful for them?
It's like shifting your focus outward.
Exactly.
Instead of worrying about how I look, I'm genuinely trying to connect with the people listening.
That's the key.
And remember, presentations are about sharing something you're passionate about.
Yeah.
Let that excitement show, and the nerves will kind of fade away.
It's true. When you're genuinely excited about something, it's contagious.
People want to listen. They want to learn.
Right.
This whole conversation has been so eye-opening.
I'm glad to hear that.
I feel like I've learned a ton, not just about presentations, but about communicating in general.
That's great. Remember, communication is a journey, not a destination.
Yeah.
Keep trying new things, keep learning, and keep finding ways to connect with your audience.
And hey, maybe one day we'll be giving those amazing, effortless presentations that everyone loves.
Maybe.
But until then, we'll keep practicing and we'll keep these structures and frameworks in mind.
That's the spirit.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into presentations.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time, keep those ideas flowing and keep connecting with each other.
Absolutely.